It's a Friday night in Amherst. Some students are at sporting events, some are at home with family, some are hanging out with friends, and others are drinking alcohol. That's an undeniable fact. Just how serious is underage drinking in Amherst? A Steele News Live survey of 395 students reveals that 77% have consumed alcohol, so we wanted to get to the source. That's why we spent a Friday night riding along with the Amherst Police Department as they conducted alcohol compliance checks to see how easy it is for teenagers to purchase alcohol in Amherst. We'll show you what we observed a little later. For now, let's look at the numbers. 68% of freshmen say they have consumed alcohol and 21% have been intoxicated, and the numbers climb throughout each grade. 82% of sophomores say they have consumed alcohol and nearly a quarter have been intoxicated. The junior survey drinks slightly more than the sophomores, and again the numbers escalate as 88% of seniors say they have consumed alcohol and 54% admit they have been intoxicated. In all, of the 395 students surveyed, 77% have consumed alcohol and 45% say they have been intoxicated. We shared these survey results with experts who specialize in underage drinking prevention.
1,200 kids in that school. So what you're saying is about 500 of them reported that they had been intoxicated. Mm-hmm. And you said 75%? 75% reported they had drank. That's pretty high.
The results of that, with the 40 some odd percent being intoxicated, is shocking to me. I find that pretty high.
Our experts anticipate that some of the respondents were dishonest and the results may be slightly inaccurate, but they were still alarmed by the high percentages, and so were we. If so many students are drinking alcohol, it means they have to be getting it from somewhere, and the opportunities are everywhere.
I would say difficult is right out the window. Accessibility becomes easier and easier as time progresses. You can get alcohol from the cabinet in the house. You can get it from the refrigerator out in the garage.
We find that kids can get alcohol through older siblings, adults. It's available.
According to Mothers Against Drunk Driving, in 2015, 1 in 6 teens binge drink, yet only 1 in 100 parents know his or her child does. Another easy route is through their older friends.
Seniors usually hang around and or know more people who are 21, so they can get it easier.
Or if there's a teenager who works at a liquor store, that's bad news all the way around. For them to even hire somebody at 18, because 18-year-olds have 17 and 16-year-old friends still.
And that temptation is why the Amherst Police Department and the STOP Task Force conduct quarterly alcohol compliance checks.
It's a check of all the local businesses that sell alcohol and to see if they're in compliance with the state standards, state-mandated standards of checking IDs.
Carry your ID with you.
Saying is if you look like you're 35 or under, they should ID. So we're making sure that they're asking for IDs and that they're actually checking them.
Sergeant Murphy invited us to ride along with members of the Amherst Police Department on a Friday night as they underwent an alcohol compliance check. Here's how it works. The confidential informants, also known as a CI, are instructed to follow the same set of rules for every procedure. The CIs are required to appear as they would on an everyday basis. They are not supposed to wear clothing that makes them look older. The police don't want to persuade the clerk's judgment. No fake IDs are used, and if a clerk asks for the ID, the CI honestly states that they don't have one. If the clerk asks how old they are, the CI must give their actual birthday, thus admitting to being underage.
Because we're not trying to trick anybody. The goal is not to trick anybody. The goal is to actually try to have 18, 19-year-old people try to buy alcohol. I mean, that's the whole point of the operation.
Although the intent is not to trick the sales clerk, the CIs are equipped with hidden cameras and wires to record evidence of the transaction. This is one of the hidden cameras that the police station gives the CIs to use when they go undercover in stores. Why do they use it? So that way they can gather as much information in case the police need to cite the store. Clerks who sell alcohol to the CI are issued a citation for sales to underage persons and must appear in court. A report is also sent to the state and the business's alcohol license is cited. But there's a positive side of the alcohol compliance checks as well. The police send congratulatory letters and certificates to local businesses who follow the law, and the list of businesses who comply are released to the media.
I feel, since we've been doing them 2-3 times, sometimes 4 times a year, is actually getting these businesses made aware that they have to have these standards, they have to check these IDs.
We just got back from riding along with the Amherst Police Department, and one store sold to the CI tonight, so the store and the cashier are both getting cited.
In all, we went to 16 places and only one sold to an underage informant. So overall, the stores in Amherst are doing a pretty good job at what they're supposed to be doing.
We got this great opportunity given to us by the Amherst Police Department to go on a ride along with them tonight, and it really shows us that they are doing all they can to limit the accessibility of alcohol for underage and minors in the community.
No matter how teens obtain alcohol, there are multiple consequences. Depending on what the offense is and where it occurs, it could have an impact at school.
When a student receives consequences at school for an item, specifically if it's alcohol related, a student may be suspended up to 10 days, and a recommendation for expulsion may occur as well by the building principal.
Our code of conduct indicates that there are repercussions that has to do with your first offense has to do with missing a certain percentage of your season. Your second offense would be half of the season, and then the third offense would be dismissal from that sport for the remainder of the school year.
Other alcohol-related offenses are outside of the school's jurisdiction, and the offender will have to deal with local law enforcement.
You will go to jail. You will have to post a bond in order for you to get out of jail.
Penalties for that are misdemeanor first degree, which is a punishable. The judge can assign a punishment up to 6 months in jail or a $1,000 fine, depending on your prior history and the offense itself.
Obviously, if you are underage and you drink, you can get in trouble. But what about the parents who supply the alcohol? In our survey of nearly 400 students, of those who say they drink, 1 in 4 list their family as the #1 supplier. A recent study by the Drug-Free Action Alliance found that 29% of teens know of parents who host teen parties, and 25% of those teens say they have attended one of those parties in the past 2 months. Yes, parents who host lose the most.
If they're hosting the parties, they can be arrested, cited for sales to underage persons, which entails within that ordinance or revised code area, it talks about if you have a place for them to sit and have a party and you know that they're having that party, you can be held accountable. So the parent doesn't even, if they know that there's a party going on, they don't have to be partaking or even provide the alcohol. If they're providing the place to have that party, the parent can be held responsible.
Responsibility not only falls on the parents during the party, but the legal responsibility even extends to when the party is over.
Parents can be fined. Parents can be jailed. There are lots of implications that occur if a person leaves the party while drunk or in an accident. The parent is held responsible and liable for that accident. If the person, for some unfortunate reason, is intoxicated and suffers some kind of serious injury, not only are the parents criminally liable, but they're also could be the subject of a civil lawsuit.
According to the National Institute of Health, underage drinking is a factor in nearly half of all teen automobile crashes and 60% of all youth suicides. That's why services like the STOP Task Force in Lorain County and LCADA, the Lorain County Alcohol and Drug Abuse Services, are proactive and believe that prevention first starts with education. By concentrating on environmental factors like community norms, access and availability, media messages, and policy and enforcement.
So we do environmental things. We try to not just affect individuals. We're not a treatment organization. We focus on prevention strategies. And one of those there are a series of those that are environmental.
We deal with teenagers teaching educational classes throughout the school day across the county, as well as we do a juvenile diversion class on Thursday nights through the juvenile court system, in which we help teenagers who have been, caught at school with some kind of illicit drug or some kind of inappropriate behavior involving some drugs and alcohol.
Teens and alcohol, a relationship that will always exist. In the past few years, underage drinking has been flying under the radar compared to the more publicized legalization of marijuana, prescription drug abuse, and the heroin epidemic. Yet alcohol is still the #1 drug choice for teenagers and is the biggest factor in the 3 leading causes of death amongst teens: car crashes, homicides, and suicides. The decision is yours. Why take the chance of becoming another number on a stat sheet? This is Gretchen Lasso for Steele News Live.